All right. Okay. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for spending your Sunday afternoon with me. My name is Ronnie Yates, and we're going to be talking a little bit about, I'll advance forward, tell you a little bit about myself. So my name is Ronnie Yates. I'm an engineering GM at Microsoft, and I lead what we call the industry solution engineering team. When we do forward deployed engineering with folks in the telco, media, and gaming space. So we work hand in hand with customers, and we're going to talk a little bit about some of the lessons that we've learned in the field and how we brought AI to some of the media processes. Thank you. So I'm sure I probably don't need to explain to you guys you're in this field, but we help a lot of companies with their media production pipeline. So that's ideation, when you're thinking about story concepts, scripts, creative intent, moving into pre-production, where you're looking at planning, look dev, anything to get yourself ready for that production and shooting. Moving into production and post-production, shoot, capture, editing, all of that work, and then into distribution, release, localization, multiple languages, audience reach. We play in that whole space with several media companies, of course, on platforms like Azure, Copilot, and other Microsoft properties. And we've really been seeing sort of the pipeline sort of evolve as we introduce AI into many of the processes. So if you think about ideation, we've been in this sort of digital age where we've been able to have real-time distributed collaboration when it comes to writing scripts, when it comes to building out sort of creative processes. What AI does is bring sort of this idea of augmented exploration. So you can actually start to think about what you're creating and put a more of a realistic move to it. So rapid creation of the environment and rapid different types of branches down stories. The ideation is really being assisted by AI to help you build out some of your content. Into pre-production, also we had in this sort of digital space, you have digital planning and tooling. Of course, you see that, but with AI assisted, we actually see worlds being built. We see assets being developed quickly. That it, again helps you get to production much faster. So we're seeing a lot of this evolution of the media pipeline being more moved in pre-production, so that you have less risk when you take on a project. And we've often heard this move from fix it to post to fix it and pre, where you can actually fix things early on before you're in production, reduce costs, and make your project more successful. So we've been focusing on that. I won't go and drain that whole slide, but what we've really been focusing on, and we've seen a lot of spaces in the pre-production space. And where we see AI and agents being able to be applied is in story development, where you can get early feedback on the pacing of your story, get early feedback on the tone. And it's not necessarily replacing those that are creative. It's assisting and augmenting them. So you get faster feedback, you get faster loops, you can actually get further down that development cycle. So we're really shifting. We're seeing a shift of earlier production, higher quality projects, and less time wasted. So one of the things that patterns that we've been seeing is that when it comes to pre-production, where we really see agents and the input into these agents is really around sort of the creative concepts. When you think about narrative inputs, what is the story meant to do? What is this brief meant to explain? What is the storyboard? All these sort of creative assets come into these agents, and these agents turn them into structured assets. So properly developed script, properly developed storyboards. It again just helping you stay creative, but move through that process. It's very similar. We do a lot of software development. I think of it very similar as code writing agents. What we do as software engineers is we describe the intent. What do we want from the system? And then the agents write that code. It's very similar. You can describe creatively what you want and what you want to display. AI agents can help you move faster and develop that. So we're seeing that come through really well when we work with customers is they want to still be able to hold on to that creative intent, but have these tools that can both be a partner on their team and help them move faster through the process. Now, thinking just a little bit about, okay, what is that architecture? If I'm building tools, if I'm using agents, what does that architecture look like if I'm developing a tool? And there's really sort of five layers that we see starting to develop and come through when we're working on products. The first is at the bottom there. It's that universal. Let me see if I can point here. Yeah, there we go. Universal data layer. So where do you store all of your scripts, all of your assets that's stored across many different silos? We want to bring those together so that they can be analyzed, they can be used efficiently and cost effective. Data intelligence sits above that. When you think about how do I reason across multiple scripts? How do I know what a good script looks like? How do I know what a good asset looks like? You have to be able to go across multiple different data stores and reason about those intelligently. So we have this data intelligence layer that we build into what we call Fabric, and we have an IQ layer. We call it Fabric IQ, which is basically how do we bring a lot of that intelligence and those agents reason over your data much faster. And then above that was actually where the agents sit. We call it an agentic framework. This is where your agents sit. They have access to data intelligence. They have access to that universal data store, and now they can start using that data to bring tools to bear and to help you with your workflow. Of course, above that is actually governance. One of the things that worries people, of course, with adoption of AI is what are they actually asked to do? How do I make sure they're doing what I want them to do and not going beyond that? So what we have is an agent governance layer, and that allows you to say, hey, these are the bounds that I want these agents to stay in. So when I think about, is this following certain guidelines or citing cultural restrictions or things around different teaching levels and things like that. We all have that. You can build that into your governance level and actually have that automatically applied and reasoning over your assets. And then on top of that, we have this, what we call a UI for AI. And you want to be working in the places that you do work every day. One of the things that we see where really halts the adoption of AI is when you have an entirely new data flow or entirely new workflow that you want people to take on. It's just not realistic. So we want to keep people in the flow that they do every day. I'm going to show this next slide. It's a little bit of a eye chart here, but it just goes a little bit deeper into this space. So I'll run through this really quick. I know we're running short on time. It started, but really just goes a little bit deeper into showing you, hey, this is where, of course, where your data sits at the bottom. It's the universal data. That's where it's stored. We can bring multiple data sources into your universal data set onto Fabric. And then above that media, what we call the media IQ, where in certain companies, there's all of this data and knowledge that are stored in people's heads, right? That's the biggest, how do we get that out of people's heads and into the system? And you do that through, bringing together multiple data sources, bringing that data into, and that knowledge into your agents by training. And then above that, of course, is where your agent sits. We talked a little bit about that. And then we have governance that sits above that, where we have observability. You'll be able to watch your agents, understand what they're up to while they're working autonomously. Security, make sure that you can that the work and the data that they're accessing is not leaked out, it's not compromised, and not taken away from you. And then we talked a little bit about that UI for AI, and that's sort of in a lot of properties, your existing web applications, also in properties like Outlook, Teams, and Copilot, where a lot of your folks are already building and working and doing their daily tasks. So I've just got a quick demo that I'll show you. We were working with. So we worked with a company that has been working on creating scripts and movies, AI from the ground up. They actually hire no actors or voice actors or anything. They create it directly from the creatives using agents. A really powerful set of tools and a powerful company. I think they're making some great content. So one of the pilots we sort of worked on was, okay, how do we bring AI into sort of this idea of helping folks understand how to build better scripts? So in this quick pilot, there's the option of being a creator, option of being a reviewer. So I'm going to click on I'm a creator, which means I'm writing scripts, and I want to get the script reviewed. And I want it reviewed by an AI that's been sort of trained in my space, understands, what are the requirements of a good script in my company. So I already uploaded one earlier. This is called the Lighthouse, and it's already run sort of the analytics over this and reviewed this. So one of the things that it's looking for is, hey, is this what we want to do? Is we want to write a script that's sensitive for all ages, right? So you're going to get feedback on the content of that script and whether it's appropriate for all ages. You also get feedback on the pacing. So it analyzes the script and gives you feedback on whether it's paced well, whether, you see any sluggishness in the pacing through different scenes. What is the atmosphere? So it gives you feedback real time based on, data that exists in your platform. So here the script is doing pretty good, 4.5 out of 5, not bad. Take it. And then structure analysis as well. So it tells you, are your scenes set up well? Gives you feedback on whether it's cohesive, whether there's a good progression. So again, the script is doing well. 4 out of 5 out of that one. And then we get into the scene breakdown and we actually look at, the script itself. And one of the things that it's able to do is recognize, hey, you have some things that aren't appropriate for all ages. For example, Jay pulls out a vodka bottle and he takes a swig. That doesn't quite meet our good for all ages. We want to make sure we're not promoting that. And then it actually says, hey, I've got a suggestion for you. Jay pulls a bottle of water out of his bag and takes a swig. Okay, that fits requirements, but that's maybe not as edgy as we want. So we can go back and we can chat with the co-pilot and say, so that your co-pilot, your agent's going off thinking about that and actually suggest a few alternatives in that script. The water bottle could contain something a bit more ambiguous. Maybe it's an energy drink that's frowned upon by some parents. And then, or maybe, it's just scribbles on his bag. So it gives you some alternatives that you can go with. So let's just say, okay, I'll take option 2. I like option 2. We'll go with that. So the agent's going to say, hey, it's a great option. Would you like me to take that on? Say yes. Apply that to the script. Accept. And I've updated the script and ready to go. So you have these agents that can help you work on your script based on the knowledge that is actually in your company and worked across the company. So I will go ahead and review any of the changes. I'm good with those changes. I'll submit for approval. And there I have it. Work through my script. I can also jump over to the reviewer. So in this case, I'm coming in as a reviewer, not as necessarily a content creator. I can come in and approve or disapprove those changes. So really what we're trying to work with this company on is how do we bring the knowledge from around your company to help you build better content. It's really about how do you train your agents and your AI based on your experience and bring that to bear for your company. So in addition to just talking about how do we apply some of this AI to the media space, we're actually also an engineering firm. So of course we build software. And one of the things that is changing in the media company that is the pace of what software is developed. And Microsoft itself, we've changed the way that we develop software, which we call hypervelocity engineering. So this isn't just development of products. This is how we develop products. So if you're in that space building software for folks in the media space, you really have to think about how do you move faster with your customers. And we developed something we call velocity engineering. And just looking at that transfer, we started out 2017, 2023. We were really getting into traditional agile, and we were doing 2-week sprints. We were doing, with 10 people teams. That's changing. If you're in the media space building software and you're still doing 2-week sprints and you're thinking about breaking down backlogs, you're not moving fast enough. So we've seen, we saw in around February 2025, we saw a lot of code writing agents really become good enough to start building not just vibe coding, but actually building secure products. You can see that in Quad. You can see that in Copilot Studio and GitHub Copilot. They're really there. So, and now today we really spend a lot of time building software with those agents. So we've seen about 2 to 3x the increase in our velocity in delivery. And now, according to Satya, you can read this out in the news, about 30% of Microsoft software is actually written by code agents. So if you're not moving along that track and you're working with media companies, you have to start thinking about how do I adopt this to move faster. A couple of things that we've done, if you're interested in learning more about hypervelocity, a couple of things, core tenets that we did to take on and move the space is tight multidisciplinary teams with deep domain expertise. So what that really means is we've got teams probably at max about 5 folks. They have deep industry experience and they're using tools through the entire process of developing software, from ideation, sitting with the customer and thinking about what they want to build, to building out specs, to writing the code, to writing the test, to delivering. Everything we're looking at how do we use these code and AI agents to deliver quickly. Design thinking to zero in on what the customer actually wants. We use what we call proven mission critical production assets. We call these accelerators. We don't want to build things more than once. Every time we have to do that, we're slowing down, and we have to have that speed. And then AI agents, like I said, across all the full life cycle. A couple of things that we've learned, like I said, leveraging accelerators. If you are in the software industry and you're thinking about everything is delivered through the cloud, everything needs to be automated. All of your infrastructure needs to come through code. And none of this manual setup, you just won't be able to move and test as fast. Hypothesis-driven, data-backed iterations. So every iteration we do, we measure the effectiveness. We employ a set of data scientists, machine learning engineers, so that we know every time are we getting better. And if you're not measuring that and figuring out how you're getting better, you don't really have a good indication of when it's time to ship the product. And I talked about AI assisted development across the whole stage. So just a few more sort of show and tells. I'll pick a few of these. Show, don't tell. We align teams faster when you're showing and working with your customers. That's a big one. A human in the loop, that works through a thoughtful workflow and design is there. And, finally, I'll just pick out just one more of those. The AI should be suggestive, not decision making. So our humans are still in the loop. Our engineers are still there. What we're really doing is helping them move faster, make better decisions, and use data that is typically not visible in your organization. Trying to go through that really fast. Hopefully I made up some time. Apologies for the late start. But just a couple of things, resources here. If you're interested in hypervelocity engineering, we've developed this thing called HB Core. This is a collection of 45 different agents that will help you develop software faster and safely if you're into using AI-assisted code agents. So it's open source, and you can use it today. There's a link. We use it internally to build some of our own software as well. We have what we call, if you're interested in learning how to build your own agent or build your first agent, and you haven't done that yet, we have a demo, a hands-on demo over at the Microsoft booth there. That's a little bit of I think a teaser video there, but just 2 or 3 blocks there, you can stop by the Microsoft booth and we can walk you through creating your own agent and get your hands on the keyboard and get dirty. And then finally, co-engineering with us. If you do happen to be a Microsoft customer and you're interested in working with us, reach out to your Microsoft contact. We are an FDE forward deployed engineer organization, which means we are here to help make you successful. So if you need engineering assistance, knowledge assistance, that's what we do. We want to help you succeed. And again, I apologize for the late start. I ran through that really fast, but thank you for your patience, and I appreciate you spending your Sunday afternoon, evening with me. Thank you.